and welcome to Tarot of the Week. This week we're going to be discussing the Queen of Cups and the Seven of Swords, aka futility. And this is a very interesting combination of cards because right off the bat you'd think that they would be like immediately incompatible energies. Like on one hand we have the Queen of Cups, who is kind of like the principle of trust and purity and grace embodied, and that power of the imagination to change the world, to that place, but also like imagination as a place that we go to for refuge, and how, you know, and just like how we also turn to love and romance almost as like a place of refuge, as like a safe haven in the scary, harsh world. And through these things we learn how to you know, move through life. You know, we can understand that there's a lot of painful shit in life, but it's made worthwhile if we devote ourselves to love and beauty. And as a person, the Queen of Cups is kind of like that divine feminine figure, like maybe like the ultimate divine mother, that spirit that is creating and nurturing us all. And that's that sort of sweet, gentle, completely understanding spirit is very interesting to oppose with the Seven of Swords, futility, or moon in Aquarius. And when we see the Seven of Swords, we think about an attack. Like this central sword is being approached at all sides by three swords on each, and you know, it's getting kind of banged up in the process. And if you think about the Rider-Waite card, because that's one of those cards that's like, even if you don't read with Rider-Waite, like they just stick in your mind. And we see this like kind of trickster figure, maybe a thief, definitely like some strange unknown figure who's like making off with some nice swords. And so we have this contrast between the spirit of like ultimate empathy and understanding and giving and charity, like Virgin Mary kind of energy, with this kind of trickster card. I always kind of think of the Seven of Swords as like Dukes of Hazzard type of vibe. Like they're always like, or like, you know, in the sense of like a Looney Tunes kind of thing. Like they're always like outwitting their opponent and they're always getting into trouble, but that's like how they fucking like pass the time. They love it. And so we have this kind of like devious trickster with the divine mother. And like what happens when those things come together. And I think in order to kind of break that down, like let's spend a little more time with the Seven of Swords, because the Seven of Swords to me is all about the opposition between what's on either sort of margin of society, right? Like you have society on one hand, and on the other hand you have like the wilderness and the outsiders and stuff like that. And I feel like a society would want us to think that these two energies are completely like have enmity to each other. Like the figure of the Seven of Swords could never be worthy of receiving the care and devotion and love from the Queen of Cups, and the Queen of Cups in her sweetness and grace could never have anything in common with the sly, sneaky Seven of Swords. And so I feel like that's, I don't know, that's kind of like one interpretation of these cards. However, I have a very particular understanding of the Seven of Swords due to the fact that I'm an Aquarius rising, so I can definitely understand the plight of the Aquarius in the 5, 6, and 7 of Swords. And I kind of see the figure in the Seven of Swords as perhaps like someone who needs the tender love and care of the Queen of Cups more than any other. Because to me, the Seven of Swords is like the divine outsider, like the divine, something that comes to mind with this card for me is divine alienation. Like, what can you learn from being in a position of being alienated from society? And that's something that we see that started in the Five. I kind of think of the Five of Swords as like ugly duckling syndrome, like how you kind of get your self-worth. When you're like born an other, you get your self-worth taken away from you. Like, you don't get that sense of self reflected back or affirmed to you. And you kind of just get marginalized, right? And then in the Six of Swords, you kind of learn how to go off on your own. And then with the Seven of Swords, I feel like that's kind of that breaking point with like that process so far. It's like that moment where either you kind of have been, what if maybe, let's say you've been trying to conform, you've been trying to, you know, hurting yourself, restricting yourself into this box, to no avail. The Seven of Swords is kind of that moment where like your true nature springs out and you can't repress it anymore. And it's like, what's your relationship with that part of your nature then, right? It's like, if you're afraid of who you really are on the inside, like the Seven of Swords is scary, right? Now, if you have kind of owned that shit since the Five of Swords, and you know, when people cast you aside, you just, you know, you do some self-reflection and find out who you really are. And even when that happens, right? Like, let's say you did that in the Five and the Six, you still are alone in the Seven, right? But when you're sort of that, like, you've kind of owned being that marginal figure, the Seven of Swords is like, you're kind of like the battle you've been training for, right? Like, it's sort of like that Dukes of Hazzard thing. Like, you kind of have to have that like criminal, like that criminal mindset to know how to like get out of certain situations, or like how to play the rules a certain way, or this, that, or the other, like kind of working on your own code of ethics, right? Because if you separated yourself from the collective, you've realized like, okay, some of these imposed structures of logic from society may not either speak to me or be accurate, or this, that, or the other. And so it's very Moon in Aquarius to kind of come up with your own code of conduct. And whether or not you're in the right or in the wrong in the Seven of Swords, I think totally comes down to how much you've been in alignment with that code of conduct. Your own true will sort of thing. And that being said, right, like, so the Seven of Swords is a moment where you're, you know, this divine alien, this divine other, you know, you can handle being attacked on all sides because it's all you've ever fucking known, and it's actually a place that you're kind of comfortable. Okay, I had to pause to take, to flip the chicken that I had in the oven, but I'm back. Anyway, Seven of Swords, being attacked on all sides, but knowing how to handle it because you sort of like have been raised in this state of otherness. And unfortunately, that often means that we get attacked by the powers that are threatened by the existence of the divine other. Because, I mean, the conversation about why the position of this like trickster outsider figure is so threatening to society is like its own thing, right? But it really comes down to the power of being bound to your own ethical code rather than like the code of, you know, the forces that are oppressing you. And it's like, what would happen if everybody did that? And is everybody necessarily like qualified to do that? I don't know, maybe you do kind of have to, I don't know, that's a whole thing. But you know, there's a lot of pain that comes in like being this figure that's like outside of society, observing everything and kind of dealing with that back and forth. Which is why the Queen of Cups is such an interesting counterpart to the Seven of Swords, because it's like, if anyone fucking needs the you know, I think I said like the TLC of the Queen of Cups, it's the Seven of Swords, because this is someone who has never felt understood in their life. This is someone who's probably, and I'm just saying in the archetypal sense, like the archetypal Seven of Swords fairy tale figure, who personally I kind of think of as like the ugly duckling in the 5, 6, and 7. You know, this energy is just like kind of inherently, right, like on its own, that alien, like watching over the world type of vibe. And so when it comes up against the Queen of Cups, it's like the first time probably that they've ever felt like someone was really listening to them and understanding where they come from and like empathizing with them and like probably feeling the pain of like the shit that they've been through. And I think at first there maybe can be a little bit of animosity, like trust issues, I feel like, between the two of them. It's kind of like melting the ice is the vibe I get with this. But I think once, like, you know, it's going to take a little work to like get those things emulsifying, right? But like once they do, I think that's like such a powerful duo. Like I think you can also kind of think of it as like, okay, like maybe like you're a kid who goes to school and like gets bullied or something like that because you're different, but like you get to go home and you have like the best mom ever. Like you have like a fairy tale mom who's like, you know, giving you all you need. And like maybe like obviously that's not the case for like a lot of people. Like a lot of people fucking like get bullied or this, that, and the other, and they don't have that, right? And so that's why it's like coming back to that idea of like the divine mother, right? Like, yes, we have parents in this life for this specific lifetime that, you know, may or may not meet our needs, but like we are, you know, we all are children of the divine creators, the divine mother and father, and we can, you know, tap into that energy of the divine feminine wherever we are. Like we can call upon the divine mother and like have her be there for us and have her be that listening ear, that protective spirit. And so like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, I kind of think of it as like the antidote, right, for the Seven of Swords. Like the antidote to divine alienation is divine, is the divine mother, right? Because no one's an alien to her. She literally created every single thing in this universe, right? And so, yeah, it's like if you're in a period where you're feeling like the Seven of Swords, if you're feeling like you're, you know, no matter what you do, you can't help but be like, you just can't conform, right? You just can't follow the rules, right? That's that Aquarian thing. You just can't help but fucking go to the beat of your own drum, right? And that's totally the Seven of Swords, 100%. When that gets tough and when you feel like you're alone and again, like you're being attacked on all sides, it's like just call upon the divine mother or call someone in your life who has that energy, who makes you feel understood and cared for. And again, it's like if you don't have that energy in your life, like be that for yourself, right? Like you can kind of tap into that part of you that and you know, there's so much online about like reparenting yourself, right? And I think that that's totally a lesson here. I mean, the Seven of Swords also makes me think of like Euripides the bacchae. Like you can try to keep, which is all about like the dangers of not practicing xenia, like the Greek concept of like welcoming the outsider. You know, you never know when it'll be a god in disguise, right? And Dionysus is really that divine other. And we can look at the bacchae as like Dionysus, like affirming even to like a danger, like, well, it kind of shows like the dangers of what happens when you disrespect the divine outsider, right? Like all the tragedy in that. Tragedy could be avoided if he just showed a little respect to the stranger who scared him, right? Because he felt threatened, you know, the king felt threatened by the power of the outsider, and so he tried to push him away, he tried to lock him away, and no matter, all of his efforts were futile because these things, you know, that energy keeps coming up. Oh, last thing I wanted to say about the Seven of Swords and the Queen of Cups. And like, oh my God, this will be the last thing this will be a good note to end it on. I'm so happy I remembered this. But this week in tarot, this is how tarot lines up, right? congratulations, Trisha Paytas, baby number 2. We love to see it. And Trisha Paytas has moon in Aquarius. And to me, she is, and well, we have the pregnancy thing and that lovely, all that magic. That's very Queen of Cups, right? But to me, this is such a like Trisha Paytas embodiment. I think she really embodies the Aquarian energy of the 7 of Swords so well, right? Where it's like, she has always to a fault gone to her own, gone on her own path, despite the fact that she has so much been attacked at literally every side constantly through her entire career. But nonetheless, like, she calls herself the cockroach of YouTube. Like, she's still around, she's still persisted, and yeah, and she's now like reaping, like becoming that that completely understanding, like loving mother who will probably like never make anyone feel like an outsider like that. I mean, I don't know, that's like, I don't know her like that, but like the Queen of Cups would never make anyone feel bad for being different, because she completely understands like why they are that way, and not just understands it, but appreciates it and sees the beauty and the value in that difference. And so yeah, that's really my lesson for the 7 of Swords with the Queen of Cups. Revere the divine outsider, call upon the divine mother, show compassion to those parts of you that you find unworthy or unattractive, or like that don't conform to whatever standards that you feel like you've been like, whatever you feel shamed about. I think that's a big thing. And show yourself like that grace and that love and that care and that empathy. And be that listening ear for yourself, even if you don't have that. Or maybe like be that listening ear or that figure for someone in your life. Like if you see someone that's like just like getting bullied or getting just like maligned, or just, maybe it's just like going through the shit they need to go through, but it's hard, like be that Queen of Cups for someone out there. If this literally happened to me this week, like I was getting like fucking like harassed and followed along the side of the road, which is like, I mean, honestly, this dude was like, whatever. I've had much scarier experiences, right? It was not that concerning. But right as I kind of like got rid of him, this mom came up to me and she was like, was he following you? Are you okay? Is there anything I can do? Do you need me to walk you home? And I was like, no, it's fine. I wasn't really worried about it. And she was like, okay, well, keep an eye out. And to me, and I was literally meditating on these cards when this whole thing happened. And I think that's kind of a perfect thing, is like, that divine mother who, because this was literally, this lady was like, literally had her like 2-year-old daughter in tow. Like this was clearly like a mom, like it was not sketchy. But it's like that divine mother who's keeping an eye out for like the wanderer on the side of the road with no car, who's just getting harassed. And like just letting them know like, hey, I'm keeping an eye out. Like I saw that, I got you. Like, you're not alone. Yeah, and that was like a very appropriate teaching to me. And I'll leave it on that note. Like whatever side of that dynamic you're on, whether you're like the lonely wanderer, whether you're the divine mother coming in to save, it's just like, do that, and like don't have shame, and like don't hold back. And I think both of those cards are just totally like being who you are cards, 100%. And yeah, being proud of that. So anyway, that was my tarot of the week for what is even it's like Thanksgiving week. And we have a full moon coming up, so I'll do a little tarot for that. But yeah, I hope this was valuable to anyone out there. I know that this was valuable for me. And just thinking about these cards, I've gotten a lot of value in my life. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the benefit of tarot, right? Is just like it can really bring us a lot of like strength, because I've been feeling that 7 of Swords vibe personally a lot lately. So yeah, I don't know, just my thoughts. Anyway,